Memory card filled up for some reason. I had to change my shirt because everyone was bothering me. So back to Rocco. So the reason why I chose the name Valentino, as he said, is because you hear the word Valentine and you actually think that he's a good guy, and he's not. Valentine's Day is actually my least favorite holiday. I hate it, so the name just stuck. The reason why I love Rocco so much is the truth. He's a bad guy. He is a bad boy. He is the son of, you'll meet his father and his family down the line in all 4 of the books, but he's the son of one of the world's most ruthless, most dangerous, doesn't give a shit if you're a woman 9 months pregnant or if you're a man who doesn't follow orders. His dad will kill you in a second. And I love that he does share the same blood as his father, and their whole family, they've never had girls, they've all had boys. His great-grandfather is named Rico, his father's named Romeo Valentino. I love that because you think that he's a good guy, but he's not. Rocco. So I started to run out of ideas for our names, but yeah, Rocco is one of my favorites, and I'll try to put pictures of what Rocco looks like, and you'll understand why. My other, My other character, Steven Preston Rice, is Kevin's best friend and business partner. And he's a good old country boy. He's a good old country boy. He is from Jackson, Mississippi, and he is basically the sounding voice to Kevin. He's tells him, you can't do this, you need to calm down when he has his little temper tantrums, which he does a lot. And he's basically the glue that puts the whole story together. Now, book 1 and 2 are told from Maya and Kevin's point of view, but something happens to Kevin. I'm going to say something happens. I'm not going to elaborate on that. But in book 3 and 4 is told from Maya and Steven's point of view. Now, I have to admit, when I was writing book 1, I was so psyched because it was a new story. I loved the way it was going. I was so excited when I wrote it. And this is the big secret. When I got to book 2, 3, and 4, I lost that feeling of, oh my god, I can't wait to sit down, I want to write. It almost felt like an obligation, like a job, like I felt like a real author, like I was on deadline, even though I write on my own time when I want to. I lost that love. But when I started developing Steven's story with Maya, I found that feeling again. And I have to say, I loved when you found out the backstory of Steven, why he's in the story, why he's so into Maya, and I loved how he has a dark past that is not necessarily attached to this story, but it's kind of, he has a dark past along with why he can't get close to Maya. Now, with Kevin and Maya, there was a reason why he couldn't get close to her, because he had a past that was not necessarily directed to the story, but Maya has so much grief. I remember when I was writing this story, I am so happy that Maya isn't a real person, because the grief and the loss and the heartache and everything this poor woman went through would be enough to make her want to jump off a roof and just herself. Because I remember asking, when I was writing one night, how much grief and loss can one woman handle? And I think that's the main question everybody's going to ask when they read the series, is how much can Maya handle? How much grief can she overdo before she snaps? And she does snap. I know from experience, through personal obstacles and through my writing, that there is a point that eventually you do snap. You do lose all sense of reality and calm, and your brain goes crazy, cuckoo. And Maya does. I would say towards the ending of book 4, when I was writing the last chapter, some sad stuff does happen, but you really experience Maya at her full. I want blood. I have blood on my hands. I have killed, and I just don't give a shit what anybody thinks. So I think that people are really going to like this series. One of the things, because I have my good, there are a lot of obstacles, a lot of what the fuck moments. All 4 books do end on humongous cliffhangers, which is my specialty. I actually love reading books that end on big cliffhangers, and these do. These definitely do. I would say the biggest cliffhanger would probably be the ending of book 2. That's my personal favorite, because I wrote that in a way that something happens to Maya really bad, and Kevin is directly involved in it, and something happened to, he was in the military, and an injury happened to him that, let's just say, makes him have some really bad life decisions. And him and Steven, after the military, opened Blackhawk. Now Blackhawk, I winged this, but Blackhawk is a private security firm that they both opened together, but something happens and Steven ends up taking over the company, and they've always worked together. Kevin worked for his dad's hedge fund company in book 1. He realized that he doesn't like to work under his dad's authority, what's the word I'm looking for? Demand. He doesn't like working under his father. Oh, that sounds so weird. It's so bad. He doesn't like working with his father. Under his father. God help me. Oh God, that's a bad visual. So they go into business together, and it turns out to be the wrong decision. And one of the main plot twists of the story is nothing is as it seems. Let's just, I can't, how do I say this without giving it away, because this is the main big thing. Maya's family and Kevin's family, let's just say there's a huge stalker between the both of them. And I was watching Gone Girl when I was writing book 1, and I love that this twist, that is something you would not suspect in a million years, and it just makes your mind go, what the fuck just happened? And there's a lot of that in this story. Just when you think you have everything figured out, I basically prove you wrong by making you stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning and just reading it. I remember copious amount of coffee, wine, and sleep deprivation happened while writing this series. I would, after my work is done at home, I would go to Starbucks, this one spot where I could only write on Lincoln Road by my mom's office, and I would spend an hour or 2 hours starting the chapter there, and then after everything was done on my work errands, whatever my dog was taken care of, I would go to my home office, which is in my bedroom, and I would have multiple glasses of wine, my candles would be lit, my suspenseful music would be on, and I would just finish the chapter. And sometimes I would go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, but you know what? I loved it. I don't think there's any better high in the world than to sit down and knowing that you just finished writing a story from your brain to your computer. That's why I love being an author, and here's the secret. I used to hate reading, and I used to hate writing with a freaking passion. My mom gave me 50 Shades of Grey to read, and I finished the whole series in a week, and it started my reading addiction. I started my blog, and I love writing now. So I know this is going off topic, but never say that you hate something, because the things that you hate will end up being the things that you love. I can't imagine myself not writing right now. I mean, it's like almost a part of me. And to click, I remember the night, it was a dark, dreary, rainy, windy night here in Miami, and I was listening to one of the saddest songs ever, Work Song, which is actually Rocco's song. You'll figure out why that's his song. Every time I listen to it, I think of him. And I was bawling my eyes out when I wrote the end after book 4. Now, I wasn't okay at all that night or the next day. I was still thinking about it, but this series was only supposed to be 4 books. It was only supposed to be 4. I was contemplating a week after I finished book 4 if I want to write a book 5, because the way that it ended is a good ending. It's a really good ending. I'm happy with what happened, but my friend Maria, who I love her to death, gave me an idea, and now that's why book 5 is going to be written next fall. But something happens to one of the characters at the end of book 4 that he just vanishes. He just vanishes into thin air, and then he comes back, and I'm like, you know what? He needs his own story. He needs his own story. It's been Kevin, it's been Stephen. He needs his own story. I'm sorry, but I can't give out any information on book 5. I can tell you the title, but I can't tell you whose story it is or what the plot is. But book 5 is called Deadly Happiness, and it happens 12 years down the line after book 4, and somebody has a family and is very happy and content, and just when he thinks he's happy and content, someone comes and destroys his life. I've actually been plotting. I have a huge poster board. I'm going to finish it after I'm finished with this video today and drink some more wine, but I'm actually doing something different. I'm plotting the entire story, chapter to chapter, so when I go write it next year, I'm not gonna get writer's block. I know exactly what I need to write. So that's a good tip if you're a writer. It does take time, it does make you frustrated, but if you plot out your story, you'll be very happy when you go and write it. So I think that's my behind the scenes, my secrets of my Deception series. It is all about secrets, poison secrets, and I'm going to leave you off with the tagline to my story, which will be coming out. My friend and me are